There we are. Hey, good evening, everyone. How's it going? All right. Tonight I am here with Color Your Own Ornaments. Now, these are from Dollar Tree. So if you're here in the US, they are in stock at my local one. Can't guarantee that they will be in stock where you are, but it definitely is worth checking out. And don't be afraid to sift through the shelves. Let me tell you, I actually stopped by the store for something completely different and went cruising through their aisle real quick. And I actually found behind some of the other ones, I think they had some acorns and apples, there's a lot of those, and the maple leaves that they have, these little cutouts. And behind all of those, I found the coffee mugs that everyone has been asking me about. So check those out first, because I know that those coffee mugs are supremely popular. And then these little foxes were hanging out behind them, and I just had to pick them up. Now, I know Mandala isn't exactly going to lend themselves too fantastically to these, but they're adorable, right? So I had to pick them up. Now, these come actually in a pack of 8. There are 6 here. Let me get this out of the way. There are 6 of them here. 2 of them I'm going to start with tonight. I laid a grid out on these, and I just laid out just a normal stencil. This is just pencil. This is just a number 2 pencil that I've drawn this out with. And then what I'm going to do, I have got some pretty fall colors here. I've actually got spiced berry. I've got a, this is the medium Hauser green. This one is, what is this one? Burnt orange and saffron yellow. Okay. And then in addition to those, I've actually also got the metallics, the copper. And on standby, I've got a little bit of nutmeg brown. I don't know that I'm going to use the brown because this is actually an apple barrel color, but the spiced berry is kind of a darker burgundy. It's got some of those brown tones, so I don't know necessarily that I'll add brown to that. I'll kind of see. My plan tonight is to do something very, very simple. I do actually just want to stick with a super simple pattern. This is just going to be mainly dots and maybe some walked dots. I think walked dots would be okay, but just because the intricacy of the pattern, it's not going to lend itself really well to try to do things like swooshes on this. So this is going to be a really nice one if you guys are newer, are not really great at or want to try swooshes, or if this is something completely different for you, if you are not into dot mandala at all and this is just a project that you came across and you want to try for these little foxes or any of the cutouts from the Dollar Tree, again, super simple, and I'm just going to stick with some nice fall colors. All right, so let's see here. Let me go ahead and get some stuff in my palette. Let's start with this. I'm going to start with the spiced berry. Apple barrel is a little bit of, let me try here. Yeah. Okay. It's a little stringy. I like their colors. They're cheap, you know. I bought a bunch of apple barrel colors when I first started painting several years ago. And I've never really found all of my favorite apple barrel colors in DecoArt Americana. So I've kind of hung on to them, probably a little too long. But, you know, I've made it work. And so, okay, so there's the orange. And see the tint on this, it is just slightly brown. So yeah, I think I'm going to leave the brown out. So we're just going to go with the spiced berry. I could have actually used a darker green on this one, but this Hauser green is my absolute favorite. I love the dusty color. The medium and the light are just gorgeous. Okay, let me get this. Saffron yellow. All right, so scoot this over just a little bit. I love that fall palette. I'm going to take a teeny bit of the fluid medium. Ooh, sorry, I knew that was going to be loud. Apologize. It always gets stuck to the lid no matter how clean I try to be. And how many times I've wiped it off, I still get stuck. Okay, literally 2 drops of that. And that is on the spiced berry. And again, that is just going to be because it's a little thicker. It's a tiny bit stringy. And this is just going to loosen that up and give it the correct consistency that I need. Okay. There we go. If there are any lumps in it, that'll take care of that. Then I've just got over here just a old washcloth, just my little paint rag. Gonna wipe stuff off, and I use the Happy Dotting Company dot art tools. You definitely don't have to use those. You can use I've got a couple of these hanging around tonight. Don't know that I'm actually going to need them, but these are nail art tools, little acrylic nail art tools. You can use anything with a flat end. If you were following along, and like I said, you're not into dot art currently, anything with a flat end, you can use a dowel, anything with kind of a rounded end, crochet hooks, Q-tips, it does not matter. If you've got old colored pencils, for example, because I use that example because I have a gazillion of them. My daughter will use like a colored pencil until it gets this big, and then unfortunately it's not good enough anymore. You know what I'm talking about. And so you can just take those in various stages of sharpness. I mean, if you imagine the colored pencil, use that. Okay, so I'm gonna quit talking now and let's get into painting, shall we? What color do I want to start with? I probably want to go dark, so let's do this one. I've got my center marked out. I'm going to erase this just a little bit because I don't want to be in your face with this tool. Okay, I'm going to start with an 8. I'm going to grab another 2 drops here. Now I did not coat the foxes in varnish. I didn't do anything to them. Just made sure to wipe them off, make sure there wasn't any dust on them. I did find a couple of them that still had some of the edges attached, you know, these little pieces. So I had to kind of pull those apart, things like that. But otherwise, yeah, I didn't add a varnish to them to start with. All right. And then let's just go in order here, probably. Actually, I put the yellow out of order, didn't I? That's okay. All right. So now this is going to be a 1.5. Now, as you can see, because I didn't finish these, I just wanted to make it simple. You can see that the dots look almost oval. You can really see that on the center one because it wants to spread out with the green of the wood that they were done on. And especially if you're just doing this for fun, you're doing it with your kids, that's fine. That's totally fine. If you do want something that is a little more perfect and round, my suggestion would probably either to spray it with something like a crystal clear glaze. You can use something like a triple thick clear glaze brush on, and then just make sure that that's really nice and dry. And then you can paint over that. That will stop the paint from soaking in and pulling along the grain like this is. It does also make corrections a lot easier. If you do, you could potentially even do something like maybe even Mod Podge on this, just as a clear coat, something just to lay on the top of it. Regardless, whatever you do, if you do make a mistake, then just have a couple of wet Q-tips or just Q-tips and some water handy. With that glaze on prior, any mistake that you make will just wipe right off. You may need to apply 2 coats though, just heads up, based on what you're doing, because these are really raw. Let me tell you, they're dollar store stuff, right? I mean, so yeah, they're really raw. They're really rough. Get myself a drink of coffee real quick. All right, let's go into the yellow. I'm just looking at sizes. What can I fit here? 4 will just fit, so let's do 3/5 just to be on the safe side. Now, the other thing I'll mention, because I'm using flat-headed tools, if I say it's going to be a 3.5, if you're using a flat-headed tool, it's going to be a 3.5. If you are not, if you use round-headed tools, like the nail art tools, like these guys, keep in mind the sizes that I'm giving are not going to match. They're measured completely differently, and you're just going to have to make an adjustment if you're following along. Unfortunately, there's not really a great conversion chart or something like that. Now, the other reason, like I mentioned sort of earlier, one of the reasons I'm not going to be doing a super intricate pattern, I'm not really going to include any swooshes or anything. We're just going to do simple dots today. Because of the way that these are cut out, it's going to be a lot more difficult to do any of those type of patterns. And it's very, very easy to let dots just fall off of the edge of a piece. I don't have to worry about pretend drawing out halves of swooshes and other patterns, you know, filling in the odd gaps and things. So, and again, this one's nice and simple. These are dollar store projects, so the simpler the better. All right, let's see here. With the green, let's just do some small fillers. Probably a 1, I think would be okay. Yep, so I'm going to take a 1. And I'm just going to put dots here. So 1 in between each of these. since these come in a pack of 8, I'm going to experiment possibly. I don't know that all of them are going to be a simple pattern. I wasn't really sure how dot mandala was going to look on this anyways. Usually it kind of lends itself better to circles and squares. If this turns out good, then maybe I'll just do more of them. I do want to keep the fall, so I might just kind of repeat this pattern again. Maybe change up the colors a smidge or something like that. We'll see. All right. Okay. I'm just thinking here. I have this nice long line here that comes straight down. And then I have this one that goes into the foot. And I could potentially do a set of walked dots there, if anywhere on this piece. That's about the only place where I'm gonna have enough room to do it. Let's see. This is another really good line, but it doesn't have anything corresponding across, because this line would be the one that goes across. It actually is so light here you can hardly see it. I won't have anything else here, but this one might work. We can try that. I think this will be the only place that we'll do a walked dot. Okay, so let's go into, now let me think here a second. Let's continue with the green. I'm in a 5. Okay, so I'm going to put 1 dot on this line, 1 here, and then 1 here. It's going to fall a little bit between the legs there. Now I know technically the line continues up here, and then this is actually connected to this one, but we're going to pretend that that doesn't exist, because otherwise it's going to be a little weird. Okay, because this is the line that would carry around, and I'm not going to try to fill that in. So we're just going to focus on this, and you won't even notice. No one's going to notice that. Okay. And I'm going to do, let's go into a 2 here. And I'm only going to put 1 dot here on the top of each of these 3. Wipe that off. Then I'm going to take the 1.5 and we're just going to walk the dot, meaning that I'm going to place the next dot here, but I'm not going to go back in and dip my tool. I'm just going to move to the next one and the next one and the next one and the next one. It'll progressively get smaller all by itself. So one dip and then walk all the way around. And in this one, so I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to come over here and we'll do this one. Okay. Now I'm going to switch tools just briefly to a 1. And then we're going to do the walk here. Okay. So we faked having a dot there. Okay, so I'm going to keep that handy. I'm going to go back to the 1.5. I'm going to go upside down for this one. I'm going to go up to a 3 and we're going to do that one more time. We're going to go down to a 2.5. Now I want these dots to be a little thicker. So as you notice, I only put 1 dot down. Then I'm going to redip, and now I'm going to continue. That way this is a little thicker up here. I'm going to leave that one for a moment. We're going to do the same thing. I'm just going to get another size tool here in a moment. I'm going to go down a tool size here to a 1.5 and finish this one. There. Yeah. What I'm going to do for this other side, so this was originally 5. Let's see if I can fit a 6 in here. Looks like I could even go 7. Just kind of checking. Yep, a 7. What color do we want that one? Very likely we could stay with the green. And then have the yellow. Yeah, otherwise it's a little too close. Okay, so we're going to stay with the green. Again, I picked up a 7. What I'm going to do here, oops, flip him over. Okay. And we're going to be able to get that right in between. The edges on these are nice because if you just place the dot down with it being just slightly lifted, it'll just fall right off the side. Let me flip you upside down. Okay. And then I'm going to take probably a 3.5. Let's see. We can probably go 4. Actually, yeah. Okay, and I'm going to take a 4. We're going to stay in that green. And then we're going to make what I call a crown. So I'm going to put a dot here. And then another one here, right in the center. Okay. Now, obviously, this one is not going to have enough room. So what I'm going to do is put one here because I know that that's where that's going to belong. Oops, let me scoot up a little just in case. And then I'll do the other one. And again, just let it, whatever fits on there. Okay. This one, we're not going to have anything there. This one, again, use the side that we know is going to fully fit. And then let the other one fall off. Okay. All right, let's get these side by side again. This dot here touches this line. These green ones don't quite. Okay, so just to make sure we have that space filled in, I grabbed a 3.5. And I'm put that right on the top there. You only have to do it on the top and the bottom. There. All right. Doesn't look like much yet. I know. Now we're working with this line here. It does go along here. It hits this tail, comes up here, touches this very, very edge of the tail, and then it comes back around. Okay. So now we're going to go back into this yellow and probably the same 4. Yeah, the same 4 would be just fine. Let's see if I can manage some straight dots today. All right, so what I'm going to do, I personally, because I need to do it around this line, well, just up to here, I'm not going to go over its paws. So I'm going to start here. Just going to follow the curve of that line. I'll let that one fall off. Let's go up this way. And then I'm going to start here because I want a clean line over here. Just personal preference, you don't have to do that, but I would prefer the clean line here and have the dot fall off into the center here rather than here on its base. Hopefully that makes sense. And then let's see, this actually does come here on its paw. Again, I'm going to get one clean dot there, and I'll let that one fall off. Now this is going to be, pardon me, this would be a bunch of just tiny half dots, but you know what I'll do? It looks like I have room enough. I wasn't going to do it, but let's just do it. Let's see. Let's get this right at the edge. There. Once we are done, we'll go back in here. I'll show you how I quote unquote fix stuff like this. We don't actually have to do anything, but I've done it enough times to try to kind of reverse engineer some of the empty spaces on stuff like this. So I'll show you kind of how I do that. All right, so there's that. And then let's do the same here. This one has even less of the dots showing. Oh, I'm not even going to worry about that. That's going to fall off. Okay. This one's okay. And don't even worry about it looking okay. No one is going to be like, oh my gosh, the pattern really doesn't continue. She's really just putting dots there. Nobody's going to be able to tell. You'll just see the circular shape. Okay, let's move on to this over here. There we go. Now that was 4. What I'm going to do is come in with a 5. We've already done quite a bit of green, so I'm going to skip and we're going to go over to the spiced berry. And I'm going to do the same thing here with this one. The only difference is that now I've got this 5, and what I'm going to do is put this in the little crook between the 2 dots below it. And that's where we're going to start that. Okay, now go back a step real quick and put in this one. There. Oops, smooch. And then don't forget the little paw down here, because I do have one dot that'll fit right there. It's got a cute little dot on the paw. And yeah, let's flip you upside down again. That's why having a lazy Susan is nice for this, but half the time I forget that I'm on a lazy Susan and I end up turning the piece itself anyways. this one, I get one more little tiny corner there. Now let's go back to something small. Let's do orange. And I'm going to say probably 1. Maybe be able to do 1.5 though. I think 1.5. So I'm going to do the orange. And same thing we did in the middle here. I'm just going to get a dot in the crook. Just thought I'd fill that little spot there with an orange dot. Do the same here so I don't forget. Now I know it's on the bottom, it's not on the top. It's just a little space filler. Kind of rather have just that dot of color than an empty space, even if it is not truly in the pattern like that. Now it's time to get some green back in here. Like I said, this is a super simple pattern. The only place that we're going to deviate from just some normal dots around the outside circles here is going to be in the middle. So for this one, we're going to do green. Let's see. Do we want to do something smaller? And I can get 2 in between each of these dots. That might work real nice. I think we should be able to get 2 in there. We could even go, no, we don't want to go 1.5. All right, so 2 and into the green here. Tool just a bit. And then on the next pass over, we'll do a large one again. Don't need to do anything on the bottom. So it's just on the head and the tail. Wipe my tool off. It's a little bit heavy with paint. We typically do not want to do more than one dot unless we are specifically walking dots. But I had a little bit of extra paint on there and I was trying to use that second dot to get that off and it just didn't work. You'll see one's definitely larger than the other one. And I'm not even going to worry about it. Like I said, because I did not pre-seal this one, if I were to try to wipe that off and it's already kind of soaked into the wood, it's just going to be more mess than it's worth. And just for such a small thing, I'll leave it. I might see it because I know it's there, but no one else is going to see that. No one else is going to care. Now, we would normally be back in the yellow at this point, but we have quite a big bead of yellow there. So I'm thinking, why don't we go orange? Much smaller dot. Yep. I picked up a 6. Upside down 6, huh? 6. And we'll do it right in the middle here. So no, it's not going to look as funny as it does now. All right, so I'm going to start here. So we're going to go right above the orange dot below it. This one will fit right next to it. And then just as before, I'm going to take a second and we're going to backtrack and do this one. Let that just fall off the side. Yeah, we'll just keep this one super simple. At the end, once everything is completed, only the outside edge really should be wet, so we'll have a chance to come back in and fill in the extra spaces in the center. Hold on to your nose, buddy. Thankfully, it does dry really, really fast. Tool didn't land on there straight. Okay. When I flip these over, every time I do that, I keep thinking that this hole for the little ornament or the little jute toy that it comes with is this eyeball, and it catches me off guard every time. I'm like, that's not the right place for his eye. There's something on there, and I had a little dimple in the paint. I don't even know if you could see that or not, but that's why I went back over it. And I have nothing to hold on to. And no, none of these dots are really perfect. And yeah, I could kind of care less. It's fun. It's relaxing. This one is not meant to be perfect. This was more or less just sort of a way for me to test out if this was even going to work. If extending a mandala pattern onto these was even going to remotely look nice. And if I decide at the end that I like it enough, I have 6 more that I can totally make, and I could even take them with me to the craft fair, but I don't know. Right now it's just kind of fun. I'm not super artistic outside of dots. So, all right. And okay, so now we are really officially into the yellow again, and I want to do a smaller one. I'm going to bring these guys down a little bit so you can actually see. Was this a 4? Yeah, that was a 4. Let's stay in a 4. Why not? Let's go back to the yellow. I know that this is not going to fit properly in the spaces between the row underneath it, so that's why I just started on the edge instead of between dots on that one. A little dip there. Let me have your nose. Okay. Trying to put my fingernail right on the tip of the nose just so that it doesn't slide away from me. But I'm just going to pretend like that hole isn't there. I'm not going to try to put dots on either side of it, for example. I'm just going to let them fall through. It's fine. One more row and we're going to be done with this, so pretty quick and simple, right? That one's going to be green. Do we want it large? Would certainly make it easy. We'll go up a size to a 5. How's that? We'll just try to keep it as true as possible, just following the yellow line underneath it. So we'll have the tips of the ears and the teeny tip of its tail. So we'll just need like 3 dots once this is done, and that'll be in the spiced berry. I'm going to stay with the 5. I think that size should fit the last little hole. There. Now then, I'm just taking a moment to look here at the space that I have here around these. It's not much, is it? Do I even really want to fill them in? I mean, I do, but let's not. Let's not, because the way that I would fill them in would be with swooshes, and I did not want to do that. I don't want to overcomplicate this one, and especially because it's untreated and really raw, rough cutouts. It's not going to be super simple, and I want to make it as simple as possible for anybody that actually is going to try to follow. So what I'm going to do instead, for some top dots, I've just got the metallic, and I'm going to use the copper because it complements that burnt orange really, really well. I'll put just the tiniest bit in my palette here. And then let's see. Can't remember exactly what size those were, but I'm going to take five looks good. Okay, so let's start here. So I'm going to take a 5 and I'm going to put a dot right down at the bottom of this one. And then let's move to a smaller tool and we'll carry that into the dots up on top. 2 is too small, 3 is good. All right, so what I'll do, so I'm going to put a dot on the inside. And then on top. There. Now I'll take, I think this 3 is just the right size. I don't want it on the orange. It's going to blend too much. So I'm going to take, now these ones are sufficiently dry, and just do the same. I'm just going to dot along the bottom. And initially I was going to go ahead and try to fill in a little bit of the green from the center into the middle of its, well, outer edge of its tail here. But I don't think it's necessary, honestly. Oh, you know what? Yeah. I'm going to finish this row, and then I just about forgot his little foot. Make sure that I don't do that. All right, let me find a little corner to hold on to here. And again, we're going towards the center, so I'm going to put that here instead of on the bottom. I would do that on the tips of its ears and tail, but those are not dry yet. Those ones are not. Now I do have, let me stop and think. I was going to say I do have a lighter green, but I don't think that's going to be necessary. I kind of do want to highlight this orange, and I could just do another row of the copper though. Again, just not to add too much more. I always feel like if you don't add some sort of a top dot to it, it feels flat, and I don't want it to feel that flat, but it already feels very full. I'm just going to stay with the same size, same everything. Yeah, we'll just go along the burnt orange here too. And that'll probably be it, I think. Unless somebody says, hey. Easiest part of the whole thing is getting these on. I'm going to turn them around a little though. There. All of this is basically dry except the very tips of the tail and ears. The spiced berry though, it does almost look wet, and it isn't. The reason it looks like that though is because the apple barrel paint that I used on that one, it's the rest of it is the Deco Art Americana, and it's flat, but the other one is satin. It's a multi-surface satin, and it is a little shiny. Okay. All right, let's turn you around. The only reason I can tell it's not wet is because of the way that when the wet paint, you can see the bubble rise when it's wet. When it's just shiny, it is flat. Okay. My trigger finger is just itching to put something on these ones. Like I said, I already feel like this is way a lot. It's definitely not what I normally do. This is definitely not my typical color palette or shapes. So my brain is working on how to quote unquote fix it. But I'm good. Okay. So I'm gonna let those dry. It did come with just a itty bitty tiny bit of jute, which I don't know if I'll even use this. I have my own thicker stuff that'll probably be better. Otherwise the strings are going to be this long. And then I will just go ahead and coat it. For these, it usually takes about 3 coats because even if I did pre-seal it, which I didn't, I'm still finding that these take about 3 coats just because they are so raw. But what I typically use is just the Duraclear. This is super, super, super easy to apply. I just take a big fat brush, give it a good coat, make sure that I don't have too many brush strokes, leave it for about 10 minutes, come back and do another one, all very, very, very light coats. 2 would probably be sufficient, but 3 makes it look good. The 3rd coat I always find with this stuff really is the one that makes it shine. That really gives it the kind of glossy appearance that I want. Okay. But I think that is just about it. So like I said, unless somebody is like, oh my gosh, no, you need to do XYZ thing, that'll cover it. If you guys like it, let me know. I'm really undecided on these. Like I said, I have 6 more and I don't know what to do with them. I'm not extremely happy with this, I'll be honest. It's fun to do. I really enjoy doing it. I enjoy working on it, but just, you know. So let me know what you think, and I will catch you guys next time. I don't know if I will be doing the foxes next time. Like I said, look, guys, I found another set of mugs though. And everybody really, really liked the mugs. So I might go ahead and spend the next live stream priming and prepping the mugs and do another set of mugs. Otherwise, I am still overloaded on a ton of projects for the craft fair. I've still got a ton of tea lights to do. I don't have any more. No, wait, I lie. I have bugs. I have 3 more bugs that I need to paint. I know that's not much, but that'll give us through about a half hour or so. So we'll see you next time. Well, I might stream again tomorrow night, either tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow night. So like I said, hey, if anybody's dropping by between now and the next time I stream, please let me know what you guys think. I don't know if I'll do this particular pattern again, or if you have any better ideas as to what to do with a fox. Like I said, I'm not super artistic. I wouldn't really be able to like paint it to look like a normal fox. Not even like a cartoon one, probably. My daughter could probably do a better job with that. Hey, I might let her do that. But if you've got something for me, let me know. I love these. I love the look of them, but they're a little out of my norm and I'm struggling. So, but guys, have a fantastic evening. I hope you're enjoying your weekend, and I will catch you next time. Thanks again for stopping by. If you do want to see the next stream, make sure to subscribe. I've got a ton of comments. I've got, oh my gosh, I've got stuff coming out every 3 days, if not more often. So catch me then. Good night. Take care and have a bye.